Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to a new JDA 5 series. I haven't done one of these in a while. So basically, the series will consist of around 10 episodes, of which I will show you how to create a Discord bot, which will have unit testing, and as well we'll set up our own database in order to handle stuff like warns and logging and then storing user IDs for people who have been banned. So the episode plan will be displayed on your screen right now. So it'll consist of those 10 episodes. So first of all, I was starting with today's episode, which is where we were setting up, and then in the next episode I'll be introducing unit testing, and then from that we can just start with command creation, and then which will eventually lead on to database creation. So let's get started. So first of all, you want to head over to this repository. The link will be in the description below. You want to just head over, if you're on the main, just want to head over to SDK code and then download the zip. Alright, so once you've downloaded the zip, you want to use your ID that you prefer using. So I'll be using IntelliJ made by JetBrains. So once you've done that, you want to head over to your IDE, and now we'll just get started with the code creation. So once you open your code, you'll find that you have a main file which is just called this, and you'll have all your builder.gradle.kts. I've added pretty much all the repositories we need, but there is one more which we need, which is called class graph, which we'll be using in today's episode, and it'll allow us to go through our whole repository for our code, our source code, and it'll look for anything that implements an interface which we'll use to extend, which one we will use to register the command. So we're only going to be doing one registration, and then from that point everything will be automatic, so there'll be no need for any manual registration, so you won't have to it'll just be easier to use. So what you want to do is just type class graph here, and this you want to do implementation in here. You want to do io.github.class graph and the latest version, which is 4.8.165, and then you just want to run this, and then you can head over to your code. So that's fine, you can go over now. Alright, so in the main file now, we just want to rename this to our bot's name. So if you have a bot name, for example like tutorial bot or Misty Guardian, you can just call that your main, but I'm just calling JDA 5 bot for now. Alright, so we're gonna public static void main string args, so that's just to run our main code. Alright, so in here we're going to set up some static fields first of all. So first of all, when I set up something called jconfig. So what jconfig is something I've built. It uses Jackson, but it primarily only takes information from one JSON file, and that's called a config.json, and that basically allows you to get information such as your tokens or any secrets. So, meaning that when you're running the bot, you needed to set up your bot. It's also general practice not to hard code any private information, as any important secret tokens into your Java code. So you're gonna do public static jconfig in here, jconfig, and then just jconfig.builder.build. Alright, so we don't need to worry about that now. And in here we're also going to need our logger, right? So this will just to log any errors or any info we want to log. So we're using logback. So you just do logger, and in here you do logger factory dot get logger and our class. We're going to have to do one more thing with the logger, but we'll just leave that for now. Alright, now we want to set up our JDA instance. So first of all, let's get our tokens. So we're going to do JSON node, because we want to check if it's null first before actually getting it, and we're just going to call token config.get token, and if it's null, we're going to log an error. Actually, not an error, we want to just throw a runtime exception, because we want to make sure the code doesn't proceed, because without the token then the bot can't work. So usually if it's an error, we'd log it, but this time we just want the program to completely just shut down. And in here we'll now set up our JDA instance. So just JDA, and in here we're going to do JDA builder, and we're gonna do create default. Creating default meaning we use the default gateway intents. So one gateway intent is a set of permissions which you inform Discord and Discord then sends you those permissions. Some of them require verification when your bot hits a certain size, which we'll explore in a bit, but for now we're just going to use the main ones. So token dot as text, and we're just going to add here, we're going to build. And once we've built it now, we want to do JDA.await ready. This makes sure that when we're gonna register everything, we wait for the bot to basically be connected. Because if you do full connected, sometimes if you want to set up your own guild, I mean specific guild commands for a certain guild with a guild ID, it'll just throw an error because that guild hasn't been registered. So now we'll just do logger.info, and in here we want to do logged in as, and get as tag has been deprecated as far from the JDA side, because Discord has removed user tags, as you might know, and replace them with just your name and a username. So we're just gonna do get name. Alright, and in here we're now going to just close this off. So now we want to head over and create our /command handlers. So you want to create a folder called a slash in your package. So we're just going to call it slash, and now we're gonna have two classes and one interface. The first thing we want to do is create our interface. So this interface, every time we create a new command, we're going to implement this interface. So it's going to our /command. And in here, in our /command, we're going to have some a method, and this method is going to be called every time a /command is invoked. So we're going to do void on /command interaction event. Oh, doing that event here, event on there. On /command interaction event. So we can just close this off. And now we're going to also need two getters. One's going to be just get name, and the other one's going to be get description. We're going to need to set these every time we create a command, and also we're going to implement a way for check if there's any duplication in the names, because no two commands can have the same name, but they can have the same description, obviously. And now we're going to create a default, and this is going to be our options. So option data, and we're just going to call this get options, and we're going to return and collections.empty list. And then we're going to need one more, and this is going to be called is global. So what global does is basically it tells you if basically, just give me a second, whether the command can appear, whether the command can appear in DMs or not, in DMs or not. So true, the command can appear in DMs. So basically what this means is that if you make this false, the command will only be for guilds, so you can't see it on any private messages, as in like when you're DMing others. And this does have its useful jobs. For example, you're creating a guild info command. Obviously that wouldn't be applicable to DM messages, so you'd make that make is global false. And now let's head over to go back here, and now we're going to create another class. We're going to call a new class. We're going to call this /command handler. This is where we're going to handle all the /command registrations. So /command handler. All right, in here we're going to need a static, and we're going to call this private final map, and not map. And in here we're going to have a string, which is the name of our command, /command that command itself, and this will just equal a new hash map, so an empty map. And then here we're going to need another one. This is going to be private final list. This is going to be all the command data. So instead of doing command data in the main in the interface or registering ourselves, we're just going to do this, and we're going to register when I'm registering our command. This is going to be registered command equals a new array list. And we're going to need an instance of JDA itself, so private JDA, and we're just going to create. Okay, so now the JDA will be called in order to upsert the command and just send them to Discord. Alright, so now we're going to need a method called private void, and we're just going to call this add /command. /command. In here we're going to require the parameter /command in command. Just get rid of this here, and in here we're going to first of all check if the name of the command is blank, because that's not allowed. So if /command, let's call this slash command. If slash command dot get name is blank, we're going to we're just going to log it as an error, because we don't want to stop this from basically. Actually, yeah, we're gonna throw, because we're gonna make sure they change it, and then we're gonna throw another error if the command with the same name already exists. And now we're going to put these commands into our this command its name and into our list. And now we're going to create our command data. So the first thing we want to do is check if the command is global. If it's not global, then that command is guild specific and it cannot be used in DMs. So we're just going to do command data equals no new command data impl, and in here we're going to have our name and our description. As well, we're going to add our options, and we're going to add that it's guild only, which is going to be true. And then in here we're going to add it to our registered commands, and we're just going to do here to set guild only, and this is going to be false. Alright, now we've done that, we can just leave this for the time being. And now let's head over, and we're going to create another method. We're going to call this protected, because we're going to access this method in another class, which will move on after we finish with this. And we're just going to call this register slash commands, and in here we're going to have the parameter of list, and in here we're going to have I slash command slash commands. And in here we're going to do a for each, so we're just going to do registered slash commands for each, and then we're just going to do JDA.observe.command.q, and in here we're going to now create a method called delete outdated slash command. And one reason why we're creating this method here is when I was creating certain commands in the past, it wouldn't delete the outdated commands, so I'm just creating this for just as a failsafe. And in here we're just going to do so basically so in here, no, actually we're going to change this. We've done this part wrong here, so we're just going to change this, just get rid of this for now. So in here we're going to do one second, just give me a second. So we're going to do slash commands dot for each. We're going to add the slash command to this, and in the other method, which we're going to call protected void, not private, protected void register slash command, that's where we send slash so just send slash commands, and in here you're going to do registered. This is where we're going to send up to the command, and now we're going to create a private method called private void delete outdated commands slash commands, and in here we're going to just get rid of this for now. In here we're going to do list dot command, and it's going to say commands, and in here we're going to do commands for each. And if the commands, which is here, nope, no, just give me a second. If the slash commands, our slash commands, which is, yep. So if this here doesn't, if commands does not contain key of the command dot get name, then we're just gonna delete the come on, 1 second. Yeah, let's just change this name. Just see slash commands. Just call it that for now. Just to so okay, now we're just gonna go back here and just do if slash commands does not contain the name, then we're just gonna delete that command by ID. Alright, so we've pretty much handled everything on here, so just call it here. And so now we're going to go to our we're going to create a class called auto slash adder, and in here we're going to handle the adding of our commands automatically using a class graph. So we're going to call this auto slash adder, and in here we're going to we're just going to extend slash command handler, and in here we're going to so basically, first of all, we're going to just create a constructor auto slash super JDA, and now before we create, we're going to need to create another method. So this method we're going to call private list class, and in here we're gonna have question mark extensions I slash command, and in here we're gonna say load commands, and in here we're going to have try, and in here we're going to have scan results. This is basically when we're calling class graph result, and in here we're going to do new class graph dot enable. So basically I'm now enabling it to get info about the class, enable dot class info, and now we're going to scan, and in here we're just going to do get rid of this for now. It's going to return new array list, and in this array list we're going to do result dot get classes dot get all classes, and in here we're going to do filter. We're going to filter through, and then we're going to do class info. So any class that implements the interface, so just implement interface, we can get rid of this, we don't need that. Implements that the slash command interface, and then we're going to load those classes. So dot load classes, and then we can just, and then in here load classes we're going to do I slash command dot class. So get rid of one bracket. Alright, so once you've done that, now you head over to your construction, you do register slash commands, and here you do load slash commands dot stream dot map, and then you do class, you can call it whatever you want, man. And then here you're going to do brackets, you're going to do try, in here we're going to do return dot class dot get constructor, and then you do new instance. You're going to do new instance of that class, you're going to throw an exception, and then here once you've done that, you're going to return null, actually that's fine, and in here you're going to do filter, and you're going to do object non null, make sure everything not non null, and in here dot collect to list. Alright, so once you've done that, that's fine. Okay, so once you've done that, now you can leave that for now. Actually, we want to throw an error. We just want to log it actually instead. So you do JDA 5 bot.logger.error, and you turn null. Alright, that's fine. Okay, so once you've done that, now we want to head over to our slash command handler once more, and in here we want to do create a new method in here. So we're just going to call this method a public void on slash command interaction event, and in here just get rid of this. You only need this, and in here we're going to do string command name, and then we're just going to check if it does it. Nope. If slash command will contain, and we're just going to throw just a log, another thing here. So log command with name does not exist, and we're going to return this because we don't need this method anymore. And then in here we're just going to do I slash command and get the name and then call it. So in future episodes we're going to implement utilities such as reply utilities or permission handling, which we then can call, and then and we can also add permission checking once we've implemented that logic. So that will all go into this method here. So pretty much for all these other methods we won't be changing them or tweaking them unless there's been some breaking changes from the Discord and throughout these 10 episode series. So once you've done that, now I'm going to head over to the JDA, your main class, which I called JDA 5 bot, and in here we want to first of all we want to create a private static field, and then we're just going to private static, and in here we're just going to call it slash command handler. The reason why I've done it this way rather than having as a local variable within our function is that later on when we're dealing with when we're using threads or stuff like that, we're gonna have to split up some certain methods. So just to make it easier when working on new code later on, I'm just gonna leave it like this. And in here we want to call our slash command handler. I mean our new auto slash handler JDA, and then next we want to do JDA.add event listener, and in here we're just going to call listener adapter, and in here we want to implement this one here, and in here we're just going to do slash command. Alright, so one more other thing I just want to do is make this protected, so because we don't need to reference it and only in the auto slash add So that's fine. That's pretty much it for today's episode. So, oh yeah, one more thing is when you want to head over, when you want to creating your config.json file, one thing I did is in the gitignore file, I added it so it doesn't get pushed to your code. And now if you head over to your config.json file, you'll see I have a token which has been grayed out. And in here, you'll have your token, and you'll just get it from heading over to your browser, going to your Discord developer portal, going to, like example, let's say this bot, going to bot and just getting your token from here. Usually when you're creating a bot, initially you have to reset your token to get it after you create a new application with the name of your bot. Alright, so and you can see if when I head over here and run it, there'll be some issue with the logging right now, but we'll deal with that in the next episode where we work on our unit testing. But you can see that our bot's finished loading. So yeah, it works. And yeah, so if you have any issues, let me know in the description below, or you can create a GitHub issue on the repository for the source or for the code. So that's it. See you next week when we begin our unit testing. Peace out and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.